Hi, grade six. Welcome to Thursday, December 2nd. We are going to make sure that you have some work time today. So, I want to go over a few points from some questions yesterday. Make sure that you understand what's coming up in the project and give you this time to get to work. So, I won't take up too much time with this video today, but I just want to make sure I address some of the questions. We are still working through taking good notes that we're seeing on the note cards in Noodle Tools. You are still identifying the seven spokes of civilization, and that is evidenced in your visual. And you are documenting where you are finding these resources on Noodle Tools. So, lots to do, but I'm not going to give you any new tasks in here. So, we're going to go over Wednesday's questions first together, and then I'm going to explain the Google question stream. I've been looking at a way to get you answers to your questions a little faster. And then you're going to continue researching, working on your visual, and adding to Noodle Tools. So, these are the questions from Wednesday. I had about 12 responses out of 60 students. So, quite a few students who didn't ask. And the directions did say, if you don't have any questions, please let us know. And only about 4 people did that. I had some responses that just said, I'm great right now. So, let's go through the questions that I did get from students. So, for the 4 resources, do they need to be 4 different websites or can it be the same website but different articles? That's a great question. So, normally in the classroom, we as teachers would encourage you to use multiple sites just to make sure that you're getting a more or a less biased view or finding the same answers from multiple resources. But in this moment online and with the limitations you have for how quickly you might get feedback, I'm willing to accept 4 different articles as long as they're good ones. If you just lucked out and you found 4 different things on Newsela that supported all 7 spokes and you were able to provide evidence for that, then that's great. So I'm not going to be too nitpicky and create extra work for you. Um, this wasn't something I clarified in the first days. And so I think it's a fair question. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just say that at this moment, I'm willing to accept that. Another great question, but how much information is expected for each research question? And do you have to share that document? You need to fully answer each question. I don't expect a 2 page report on stable food supply in Egypt, but I don't think one paragraph is going to be enough. You don't even actually need a separate document. Your note cards on Noodle Tools will demonstrate your note taking skills. So, your Noodle Tools project should already be shared with the teachers. And I'm going to provide a slideshow, a new screencast about the note cards just to clarify there. But you don't need a separate document and you don't have to hit share with teacher because then it just sort of gets lost in our inbox. The best thing you can do is make sure everything's uploaded on Google Classroom and Noodle Tools. Number 3 was what platforms can we use? Absolutely anything. The challenge is going to be making sure you can share it with teachers on Google Classroom. I had a few kids who've already reached out for feedback really early so that they don't get frustrated at the end realizing, I don't have any way to share this. Some students were using Canva. I think we can easily download and upload links. And if you're not sure, just email a teacher. This is a very good reason to email us because it's student specific and it's not something you're submitting but trying to get immediate feedback on. So if it's something you just don't know whether you're going to be able to share it, go ahead and ask now. But there's no limit to how many you could use either. So someone else said, well, can we do 2 things that are connected, like a poster and a board game? Absolutely. Just make sure your research is strong and be realistic about your time limits. I will never tell you to give me less work than what you're willing to, but I would prefer to see one really strong resource or, sorry, visual, like a strong poster, rather than sort of 2 things that are done so so and you didn't put too much time. So just be realistic. Do you have to do the initial thing, or what I think they meant here was like platform that you chose on Tuesday? No. If you want to change, go ahead. Just don't do this, next Wednesday when it's due on Friday. Now is the time to make a change. Do we start making our civilization starting today? You absolutely can, but please don't forget that your research is just as important, if not more important, than your visual. I'm okay, but I still need some help on Noodle Tools. That's awesome. I'm creating, like I said, some more focused screencasts on Noodle Tools, and I'll add those to Google Classroom and I'll put them under the digital resources folder. Do we have 9 days to be done with our research? No, because now you're down to 7 school days counting today. I am not demanding your time. I'm not saying, well, you had the weekend. I really think that's unfair to students. And I know that you also have work in other classes. And I know that a lot of classes are working on summative projects. So I think that 7 school days is plenty of time now that you're not getting new work to do each day. So you'll have at least 40 minutes, if not more, per day to focus on this. So if you get to work, it's plenty of time to get it done. Okay, so I thought that getting questions like this was actually really helpful. And I think that often a question from one student might be a question that many are asking. And so I was trying to find a way, how do I get them questions like this without making them sit and wait for my slideshow the next day? And I realized Google Classroom has a question option. So I said, if you notice, there's a little box which instead of a materials post or an assignment post, it has a question. I scheduled this to show up at 8 a.m. August time. What is your plan for I'll fix that, summative visual? Use this question stream to share your ideas for your summative visual. Elaborate and give some detail. Ask for input from, oh man, I really had some typos in here. Ask for input from your peers, reply to other students' ideas, and offer support and advice where you can. I actually went back and added this second paragraph later, thinking about some of the problems we've had recently with online resources. Please stay on task. This question stream is only to be used for your summative project. This is not for any discussion about social or personal matters. Students who are not mature enough to use resources appropriately will be removed. Use good judgment when you're deciding what to write, and there is never an excuse to be rude to others. I've seen that in Google Classroom comments where someone says, "How do you not know this?" or "Why would you ask that question?" We don't need your input. If someone is asking a question that's unnecessary, teachers will redirect them. Students don't need to try to call each other out or belittle other students on these kind of platforms. So be mature, be respectful, and use it appropriately. Okay? So, your checklist for today. Hopefully, you've already watched the video. Go and answer the Google Classroom stream here, and I'll show you in just a moment where that is on Google Classroom. Add to Noodle Tools. Make sure you've got at least 4 sources. Make sure you've got at least 1 note card for each supporting question. Work on your visual. And then, if by some miracle you have any extra time today, you could go and watch CNN 10, but I highly doubt you will have extra time. So just to clarify on Google Classroom, okay, yours will look a little different because you won't see Fridays just yet, but you will see Thursday's post will be darker and green, and you will see this question post, okay? So if you notice, all the assignments for this week have popped up green with this assignment. And if we go way back, you can see it looks like a reference book with a bookmark. That's if it's just a resource for you. And now you're going to see this question block here. So today you're going to be using resources in the Thursday assignment and answering the question here. I would also say make sure that you hit turn in. If I go to assignment for yesterday, there wasn't a new item to turn in down here. You just had to do your question. But go ahead and click turn in. Only 4 people did. Just to get it off of your list of to-dos, okay? And you can do the same for Tuesday and Monday as well if you have done all of the items in there, okay? So let's go ahead and get started.